let's get into a little bit of real estate.
So I think it's one step at a time. Don't look at somebody else, chapter 36. You're at chapter 2.
Keep practicing. If you're not putting that work, you're not gonna get better. Because even if your coach is freaking Bill Gates or Warren Buffett, but if you're not hungry enough to do what they tell you to do, it's not gonna work out.
But if you're hungry, you can figure it out, man. The guy had an auction on Thursday, bro. He called me on Monday. He had 3 days to either sell this house or he's gonna hit the auction. So I'll tell you that you don't have to hit a home run on the first swing.
In the back of my head, I said, there's something in this freaking industry that I could make money. Our family is more important than money.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Rise Podcast. I'm your host. My name is Handy Mohari. I'm the CEO and founder of Handy Mobile. And in this podcast, we aim to be entrepreneurs and business leaders who are doing amazing things. We want to be able to share their story to inspire other people. So today, I have two special guests. These guys are hungry and driven entrepreneurs. I have Marlou Merilles. Marlou is a real estate ambassador, a wholesaler. He's a father of 3 kids, and he's doing amazing things, man. On the other side, we have Ajay Sharma. This guy is he's a beast. Now, he's a beast, and Ajay is also a real estate investor. He's a wholesaler. He goes by AJ Buys Houses. So welcome. Thanks for being on the show, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Yes, I'm more beast than him, right? Just a note there.
Give it to him for the people.
So let's take it back. We're not gonna get straight into the business. I want to take it back to a time when you guys had, nothing. When because you guys are both immigrants, right? You came from the bottom.
Yeah.
How has the transition been like to come from, because I know AJ, you're an international student. So tell me a little bit about that story of when you first started, AJ.
Well, I was 18 when I came to Canada as an international student. And this was back in October 2015. Came to Ottawa, did business management entrepreneurship. And then later I moved to Manitoba. Took up permanent residency because I was just on a student visa at that time. Started my journey from there. Started from nothing. Minimum wage jobs, right? Tim Hortons, grass stores, typical brown guy doing typical stuff. Got a break in 2020 when we got this newcomer deal on Pemina. We started that. That was my first business. This was March 15, 2020. So I was 22 years old. That was my first business. Started it, ran it for about a year. Had a partner, and they teach me a lot about business. And that's where, my level up from being an employee to starting a business, running a business, and having that mindset change happen. And then later on, I sold that one in 2021. And then I started into real estate in June 2021. That was my first time when I bought a property. And ever since, just been in real estate.
Nice, man. Big transition, man. From starting that early and then your first business to real estate. Marlou, tell me, man. You got a. I mean, we did actually a first episode together, and you got a very interesting story. You started off hustling. You started off hustling early on, man. Tell me a little bit about that, man.
I was born in the Philippines. I came here when I was 15, and then I grew up watching my dad run his own business back home, but that didn't last long. So I think 9 or 10 years old, that's the business shut down. And then he married my stepmom, for my first stepmom, and then she sponsored us here. And 15 till I was about maybe 21, 22. I was just working, same thing with AJ. It's just a regular job. Went to high school here, went to college, finished college, didn't do anything what I finished with, went away some money. But yeah, I started, I was 23 when I had my first child, and that kind of made me realize that I have a different purpose now in life. So I had to be straightforward with everything I do. I have to be serious. So I had to actually look for full-time jobs. And then I started just selling, anything that I could, Filipino street food. That was my first business here. And then got into some things that I'm not very proud of, but I sold drugs. But yeah, and then, 2020, 2019 got laid off from my job that I was in for 6 years. And then that really put me on the edge and really made me realize that even though I have a good paying job, I'm not safe there. And then I started into real estate, just buying my first rental. Didn't work out. I wanted to quit within 3 months. And then um, I found out about coaching, and that switched everything for me after I invested into a coach.
Wow, Marlou, you got a pretty remarkable.
In that journey. Yeah, especially the U-turn.
Yeah. Oh, bro. Oh, bro.
I was thinking you're gonna keep it in the podcast.
No.
Beat.
No.
You do you, man.
No, so guys, tell me like the transition from like I know AJ, you're from India, and Marlou is from the Philippines. Anybody who wants to get into anything, there's a lack of resource. You don't have mentors, you don't have people that can guide you. How has that been like? When you're first coming to Canada, like what were some of the challenges you had to deal with, AJ?
I kind of disagree on what you said, and I kind of do agree on it too. It's just a mixed feeling to what you just said, because I really don't think it's always resources that stop somebody. I personally believe it's more about hunger. You could have all the resources, but you just want to sit in couch, chill out, watch Netflix. Trust me, nothing's gonna happen, right?
Exactly.
So I think that's step two, where you have resources, you have somebody who's gonna hold your hand and lead you. First one is your own hunger. If you're not hungry, if you're not willing to do what it takes, you're just gonna blame somebody else. You're gonna blame the coach. You're gonna blame the mentor. You're gonna blame your business partner. You're gonna blame somebody else. You're always gonna, throw the towel instead of looking in the mirror, right? So even if somebody's starting from immigrant, right? Sometimes people think, if they're starting as immigrants, starting a new journey, new chapter, they have, they're like underdogs because they don't know the country, they don't know this community, they don't know the system, how it works, right? But if you're hungry, you can figure it out, man. Everything is there, especially now, 2025. You got Chat GPT, man. You ask one thing, you can have everything in front of you in like seconds, right? So if you're hungry, if you have the discipline to put in the work, you'll find your way. There's a saying, a man can do what he wills, but he cannot will what he wills. It's a big saying. You can do whatever you want. You can absolutely crush it, but you have to be hungry. Nobody's gonna just lay it in front of you and you're gonna just cherry pick and enjoy it. It's not gonna happen.
No, 100%. I agree with you on that.
I agree with them, man. No.
So I think resources are there, but I think that's like step 2, step 3, man.
Yeah.
Step 1 is you look in your mirror, talk to yourself, right?
Yeah. So someone who's young, like you understand that people who are at that stage, that's what it's gonna take. It's gonna take for you to go and figure things out.
Right.
And we have nothing.
Of course.
So, I definitely agree with you on that, Marlou. But what is your take? Like,
He's 100% right, man. Like, just like playing basketball, right? Nobody's gonna put the basketball on the hoop except you.
Right.
You're not gonna get better even if your coach tells you, keep practicing. If you're not putting that work, you're not gonna get better. Same as in business and in life. It's the same thing. So you gotta put in that work, man. Because even if your coach is freaking Bill Gates or Warren Buffett, but if you're not hungry enough to do what they tell you to do, it's not gonna work out.
how has it been? Like you guys being from India and Philippines, that definitely gives you a drive to want to do like much more. Like it's not like people in the suburbs who just have everything given to them, right? So the hunger is way different. I feel like, you know what I mean? So you have to be willing to see that perspective. Like I'm coming here to make something impactful. Where I think a lot of time people do come here, they get distracted because access, everything is like you say, everything is given to you.
Yeah.
You have ChatGPT, you have all these things, but some people abuse these things too. Right? They just the distraction. So how have you guys been able to sort of maneuver? Because you're telling me, Marlou, you did some things that you didn't want to do, but you fell into the wrong environment. What was that transition like to get out of that in Winnipeg?
Just seeing a close friend of mine who got caught, went to jail, and I think that was the wrap for me. And I was doing it for close to 5 years. Like my parents didn't know anything about it. My sister, my family didn't know. Only my wife did. So they have they're thinking like they can't prove it that I was doing it, but they had the idea because I was hanging out with guys that are doing it.
Some shit.
Because you know what they're saying, right? The people you hang out with, you're average of that, right? So they kind of like thinking like, is he doing it or is he not doing it? But like, I'm kind of slick in my own ways, and they never found out. So now I'm open to talking about it because that kind of it is part of my life, and it teaches me a lot of things, especially talking to people that are drug addicts, right? Because I was giving drugs to people that are drug addicts. So you have to like they have you have to trust them and they have to trust you, because every time, like for me, every time I go to their house, I always pray that hopefully this is not my last, because they could be an enforcement with the police, right? Okay, I'll give you money, or you get a pass, but you gotta give me your dealer, right? So every time I go to their house, man, I'm scared as hell. But like I did it, So when I started in real estate, in the back of my head, if I could do that thing, real estate is easy, man.
Right.
This shit is easy, Like you nobody's gonna put you in jail for buying properties.
Yeah.
Right? Selling drugs, you go straight to jail.
Yeah, the consequences are
It's different, right?
Yeah.
So that fired me when I was starting was there. So yeah, man, it was a great blessing that, like I feel bad for him, but at the same time, that kind of switched it over for me, that I think this is it for me. And I told April, that's it. I think I'm done. I'm done. So uh, that's where real estate came into my life.
nice.
Yeah.
Or it's a great reminder. Like I said, kids, don't do drugs 100%.
For
But
sure.
you realize a lot of the things that you were, because there's a lot of people, especially in Winnipeg, because I grew up in the North End. So I've seen a lot of my friends that got involved into those kind of things. But you realize, streetwise, people are street smart. I had this one guy that I knew, he's still doing the thing, right? But you realize he's very smart, the way he moves, the way he do out there. And I told him, listen, man, you could do the same thing with real estate. You already driving, you know what I mean? But it comes down to the mindset. Yeah,
Of course.
The mindset is really the different area.
Yeah.
Between someone who wants it and someone who keep doing the same thing. Because you could tell someone, stop smoking, stop doing this. But mentally, they're not there. They're never gonna change. Like you can't feed them anything, right? So, AJ, tell me, how has that? Because you're an international student, right? You're telling me a little bit about that. How have you seen Winnipeg, where a lot of people, especially Indians or Filipinos, they come here, right? There's that environment shift. How have you been able to sort of get away from that? No, you're a very family man.
Yeah.
You have your brothers in the business. So tell me a little bit how you're able to sort of.
I'll go in a flashback to how Marlou kind of covered it. He had a different type of story. Back when I was 14, I was always a business guy, man. I always loved making money, I'll tell you that, okay? And I think I was in high school. I was like flipping phones. That was actually type of thing. So I did it.
Nice.
And then I used to use that money and use private lending. So I used to give my boys, because they used to gamble a lot on IPL. So IPL is pretty much like cricket. So it's a team where people bet money on. And these guys needed money all the time. And I was like, you know what? These guys need money. I have money from my business. Why don't I use this money, give it to them for private lending? And I used to charge them like 20%, right? Like but I was like, I was making money out of it, right?
Yeah.
So I always enjoyed making money. Like business aspect, always been there. I was 14, that was my thing. I ran until like I was 17, then 18, I came to Canada, right? I had to do what I had to do to get my permanent residency, because at the end of the day, if you're not stable as an immigrant, there's always an potential where you could be deported or sent back to your country, right? So I wanted to build that base. And once that base was built, I was ready to take my chances, take my gambles, right? Bet on myself with the opportunity that comes to my way on businesses. That's why even though Nike wasn't really my forte, like restaurants is not really my go-to thing, but that was the best bet I had that was presented to me. I was all up for it. I was like, I'll do it. And in terms of when you said the transition to Winnipeg, I think if I have to go back and I'm 18 years old again today, I'll pick a place where there's still room where you can easily enter. Because when you come immigrant, you don't have deep pockets. You're not coming with millions of dollars. You're coming with thousands of dollars only. and you got to put some bets that got to get you the best returns. So you got to pick, places like, maybe New Brunswick, maybe Regina, maybe, Edmonton. You can't really go to GTA. You got sharks over there. You got to be a fish, right? And later on, you can transition into a shark. But you got to understand, today you're a fish, right? And, you got to just focus on it, make small bets, keep investing, right? And then over time, when you see those results, 5 years, 7 years from now, you want to go play the big games, go for it, right? But sometimes people kind of misunderstand this and they start, okay, let's go to GTA. These guys are making millions. These guys are making millions because they got deep pockets for that, right? But you're coming in with, almost nothing to the table, right? So you got to be in true honesty to yourself, man. I don't have that type of money. You can only do what you can, right? Let's focus on that, right? And take steps as per that. And once you have that type of bankroll, go crazy. Then don't limit yourself to GTA. Go Miami. You see people over there, right?
Yeah.
You see people in Florida. People making money in US is nothing compared to people making money in Canada. Nowhere.
100%.
Right? So I think it's one step at a time. Don't look at somebody else, chapter 36. You're at chapter 2. Focus on chapter 2, chapter 3, chapter 4. Once you kill it, then only start looking at your chapter 36, right? So I think that's kind of where I think the transition for an immigrant should be, kind of looking at, your initial steps, one step at a time, and then just kill it.
Yeah, find your resources. And I think a lot of times when I hear you guys' story, like you selling you Filipino and then you're starting at 14, it reminds me of the old Warren Buffett story. Have you guys heard the Warren Buffett story?
No.
Well, Warren Buffett, when he was 12 years old, he used to sell like, candy and newspaper. So I think people don't know is to become an entrepreneur, an investor, if there's so much similarities. And because what you're doing right now, you already were doing like when you were a tip. You know what I'm saying? So it just kind of transitions. And I realized that people who are doing it now, they all had a side hustle when they were growing up. Either when you're 14, you're 15, or you're 12, you were doing something.
Right.
So those things can just transform to what you're doing right now. So Warren Buffett's story is always kind of relates to everybody who's doing Shopify. I was listening to a kid that he's like, I'm 18, I'm doing Shopify, and I'm like, bro, you're 18, you should be proud of yourself.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, man. You know what I'm saying? And so I think because it's so easy with people, but it's like the mindset. He's already doing it. So when he becomes like, for example, by the time he's 30, this guy could probably be a millionaire. You know what I'm saying? So it's the compound of what could happen over a long-term period of time. But let's get into a little bit of real estate. I know you guys are both, real estate. You guys are one of the best. I know Marlou, one of his exit strategies is wholesaling. I know AJ, you have a
I'm more into investing, keeping rentals, flipping
to
it,
the
right?
investing side of things. So tell me, why real estate and how did that come about? I know you told me, Marlou, you had got a coach, and that kind of just told you, oh, this is actually possible. So tell me, how has that been like you getting into real estate and building your base, and now you're like this big dude?
Yeah, well, the reason why I got started in real estate is one of my friend that owned a couple of rental properties in Winnipeg and in the Philippines. So when they called me back to work after my layoff, that's when I was like, bro, you have to do something here. This is your last chance to do something that you will be able to leave this job on your own terms. So out of nowhere, I just, was watching videos about real estate. And then, like I said, the buddy had a couple. So I reached out to him. I said, hey, bro, how do you do rentals? Blah, 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 blah. He's like, oh, it's easy. You buy it. You put tenant in there. They pay for the longest time, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, oh, that sounds easy. I said, let's partner up, because he has the knowledge. I got the resources. I got good credits. I got money for down payment and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, we didn't ended up partnering up with each other. But then I still bought the property that we looked at. And that was 2020, like early 2020, February. And then the goal was to put students in there. And then March of 2020, we all know what happened with COVID. Everything stopped. And the two girls that was renting the house was terrible. So then I was like, you know what? I don't think this landlord game and real estate is for me. Told April, I said, I'm out. I think I'm gonna sell this. Even if I lose my down payment here, I'm good. But then in the back of my head, I said, there's something in this freaking industry that I could make money, because I know people that are flipping houses. How can I do that? So then I kept watching videos, and then I found out about Stephen Arnio when he passed away. And then when I searched him up, he's for real, and he was in Winnipeg, right? So he was well known before he passed away. So I was like, if this guy can do it in Winnipeg, I'm for sure can too. So I bought his coaching, and coach told me this, do that, this, and I did it all. And within 6 weeks, we got our first deal. Got my money back after a month and a half. So I was like, this thing is fucking for real. Yeah. So I was like, holy shit. And then instead of taking the profit out of that first kind of wholesale, because I bought it, cleaned it up, and then sold it within 7 days. I took that money, paid off my line of credit, and then paid more into coaching, because I told him I didn't learn anything on that first deal. I found it, I got it, I sold it, but it wasn't much. It wasn't as much as I want to learn from that deal. So I said, keep coaching me. So he's like, yeah, pay this. I was like, done. Paid it, and then we kept going.
I heard you made like $500 off the first deal.
Well, the first wholesale that I did, I found one in Kuwaitin area. It was a tear down, and I sent it out to my buyers list, right? At that time, I had my first wholesale deal, and then my fourplex, the blue one, and then the third one came, which is the wholesale. My coach was like, "Yo, you gotta wholesale this because you can't close on it." I'm like, "How?" It's like, "Just sell the contract." I'm like, "How?" He's like, "Just find a buyer, put something on top of the contract, as long as the number works, right?"
Right.
So I send it out for like $3,000 fee. At that time, nobody's paying like over 10K on fees, bro. Nobody. So I sent it out, nobody wanted it. And then out of nowhere, I was delivering my flyer with my kid, and we put it on one house. He called me. He's like, "Hey, bro, I'm an investor. I buy houses, blah, 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 blah. Do you have any deal for lands?" I'm like, bingo. I was like, "Yeah, I have this one on Kuwaiti, blah, blah, blah." He's like, "Let's go for a meeting." Went for a meeting. He said, "I'll offer you $500 cash right now." I'm like, "What?" I'm asking 3K. It's lower than freaking land value. He's like, "No, the best I could do is 500." So I called my coach. I said, "Yo, this guy's offering me 500. I don't want to accept it. It's not what I want." He's like, "How many hours did you spend on that deal?" I said, 2 hours. And then he said, "Do you make 250 an hour at your job?" I'm like, "No." And he's like, "Go back to that table and say yes to that. Because you don't want to make zero, right? You'd rather make 500 than zero." I was like, "Okay, you're right."
Right.
So I went back and I said, "Look, done deal, $500." And I told him that after that, this would be the last one I'll make like this.
Yeah, and then after that, you went to Jollibee, right?
Yeah.
I know, right?
Yeah.
You want to just pay?
You guys should ride on Kuwaitan. There's one right there.
You gotta go become more real quick to something to eat, man. Yeah, that's a great story, but you gotta start somewhere, build your baseline, and then eventually, now I think at max you probably don't know, I can't feed, man. Yeah,
Minimum.
yeah. So AJ, tell me a little bit about your story, man, into real estate, and how has that transition been, man?
So actually, so in 2021, once I sold the restaurant, right, I started looking. I was like, man, what should I do next? Right, I'm done. This is over. So I started, researching about. Back then, it was NFT was pretty popular. 2021.
Yeah.
Drop shipping,
Yeah.
and then real estate. And the reason I looked at real estate because I have family in Pennsylvania, Philadelphia, and they've been in real estate since like 1970s. Like they're big time players, right? and I looked at their podcast, and he was explaining how everything he started, right, from nothing. They came in as immigrants too, and they built an empire, right? Massive players, right? So I was like, you know what? I should look into real estate, and that's why I started looking to it. I started listening to podcasts, watching YouTube videos, ordering books. I reached out to a lot of like these coaching programs too, where people are selling their coaching programs. I'm gonna be honest. I'm a brown guy. Somebody asked me 10K for a fee. Oh, sorry, 10K for their coaching. I was like, man, I'm not paying 10K.
Yeah, yeah.
But I was like, whatever. So I interviewed them. Okay, what value gonna you bring it to me, right? And they're like, yo, we're gonna set you up with our platform. You can watch our videos, and then we're gonna give you resources. And I'm a very practical guy, right? I wanna get my hands dirty. I wanna see the real practicality. I wanna see the negotiation right in front of me. I don't wanna watch some YouTube videos, right? So I interviewed a lot of guys from Ontario, guys from even Manitoba, like from Winnipeg too, right? Um, I didn't really feel it. I was like, you know what? If I'm taking a bet, I should bet on myself instead of betting on a coach. So I went on a different way. I never hired a coach. So I looked at YouTube videos. I found a guy who was doing the same stuff in Winnipeg. Um, and I reached out to him. I just called DM him on Insta. I was like, man, I'm proud of what you're doing. I'm kind of interested to see what you're doing and learn from it. Would you be open to for a coffee or for a quick call? Maybe like day after he texted me, he's like, this is my number, give me a call, right? I gave him a call, and we just had chatted for like about an hour. And it's like, I told him, yo, if there's a deal, I have some money, I would like to fund it, but I would like to be a partner where I can work side by side and understand how everything works. I want to know A to Z, everything, how you deal with lawyers, why you wrote this on the offer, why you didn't read like everything in minor detail to from minor to macro to every size of detail. So that's where I started. So first deal I did, probably the worst deal I did. so
Good.
so I'll tell you that you don't have to hit a home run on the first swing, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's okay if you only make a $500, like Marley said. And I probably screwed up on my first deal too, but it was a good learning curve. Learned lot out of it, and then after since just started buying properties, flipping houses a lot too. And then I figured, real estate is a three puzzle to solve. One is people, another one is deal, and then you have the money. People aspect is your contractors, your lawyers, basically people who are going to be executing the project, right? And then you have the deal. You got to have a deal. If there's no deal, where are you going to put the money, right? And the third aspect is money, right? Whereas you can use private money, lenders, all that type of stuff, right? And then slowly started, figuring stuff out. Got my brothers into helping me out with the people aspect because Ishwar, my brother, he's an architect. Shivam is an absolute dynamite guy. He handles all the construction aspect too. And, just kind of killed it from there. Bought a lot of properties, have a decent portfolio now. And yeah, just been enjoying it.
Nice, man. But it's a pretty remarkable story you guys both had, man. He started from the ground up.
Yes, sir.
So, Marlou, tell me, I know AJ has a different strategy when it comes to, he's more passive. He has the rentals. You also have the rentals as well, too. What's your next go-to now? I know you started doing wholesale flips. Now, what's the next move look like for you now?
So yeah, I mean, the next goal is to accumulate all the cash that we can, and buy 10 plus unit and dump the money there. That's right now, and then travel with the family because we're at this age that we can do it. My parents are in good health right now. They can travel with me and with the kids. So accumulate money, buy a big portfolio, and travel.
Right.
So tell me, guys, I know a lot of times when we're in business, we're handling transactions where we're serving people. A lot of time we chase the shiny object, which is the money. And I think I saw something we talked about, Marlou. You said that money is not the goal. Freedom is the goal. That's the end goal. So what is it for you guys? And you guys are doing it now because you built a pretty good portfolio. I know AJ as well too. What does that look like for you guys now, AJ?
Well, for me, it's definitely freedom, liberty to travel, liberty to do what I feel like. Because earlier, I would definitely say a couple of years ago, I was more into just the dollar signs, more into just making the money, right? Now I'm more into, okay, I want to settle down, get married, right? Focus on family, right? Stuff like that too. Also, of course, running my business, right? How we're doing it. And that kind of happened after last year, right? When I lost my dad and grandfather in the car accident. It was a tough time for our family, right? And that kind of gave me a reality check that nothing is promised. Nothing. You think tomorrow you're gonna do this, or next year you're gonna do this. You don't know how long you're gonna live, right? And that kind of gave me a reality check. Stop pushing it. You're gonna spend time with your family after 30s, or stop pushing next summer. You get an opportunity to do it today, just grab it and do it, right? So I think freedom kind of plays a massive role in it, because if you're so cocooned in your time schedule, your work life, right, you cannot find your time for family, right? So for me right now is to of course run the business, do what we're doing, kind of double down on everything we're doing, but still want to focus more on family too, travel with them, spend time with them, and have great life together.
I'm sorry to hear about that, your father, bro. That must have been a very tough way to sort of.
Yeah, man. I mean, see, I'll tell you, debt is never easy, okay? But what I kind of understood from my experience is there's levels to debt. So it's something where there's a sudden death because it was a car accident. Those are ruthless, bro.
Yeah.
But then in a scenario where somebody is 95, battling a cancer or a disease for past few years, you do have that mental state where you're like, okay, there's a possibility this could happen, right? But in an incident where my dad and grandfather, they left in the morning, they were going to their stuff, and then all of a sudden this thing happened, right? That comes out from nowhere, that hits hard, just like what happened in India, right?
Yeah.
That airplane crash, right? A lot of people died. It happened right in, and it crashed at a hospital or a college place, right? A lot of students died too. These guys were doing what they were doing on a regular basis, but then this sudden thing happens, and this hits harder than anything. And this changed your perspective about life, that it's not about money. Because I can throw all the money I have, but guess what? I can't get my dad and my grandfather back ever, right? So instead of just focusing on the shining, the science, look at what you also have. Kind of spend time
Enjoy
with them.
while you have them.
Enjoy while you have it, right? And that's very important too.
Yeah, you got to reflect on where you are and sort of look at your life in you, because you got to be able to reflect in the mirror and see who you're actually doing it for.
Exactly.
Marlou, I know you have like 3 kids, right? And a lot of people look at you and be like, "Yo, this guy is successful," but they don't understand that, because you said you had your first child, you had him when you were 23 years old. So tell me, your why is much bigger than most people, or just getting into real estate, right? And then I also see that you put your kids in the videos, you're teaching them about real estate. So you're sort of giving them that game while you're learning, they're also learning too. So it's sort of that ripple effect on both people. Why is that so important?
Because I grew up watching my dad with his own business. I was actually trimming, because he used to sew pants for bench,
Okay.
the jeans. So when you flip your jeans before it gets sold at the retail, all those threads are everywhere. So we have to trim it. So my dad would, have us do that on the weekend, spend time with us. And when the business died, he was driving taxi, and he would never miss Christmas with us and New Year's, even though he's driving taxi. You know what he would do? He would get us from our house, and some people would spend their Christmas at home with other families, blah 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 blah. But for us, me and my other two sister and my dad would just drive around the city. We'd see lights, fireworks, stuff like that. So for me, having my kids around me is also very important, because that's what I grew up having, right? So I want my kids to have that, so then when they're older, they will value their own family rather than looking at the money is their god. It's not really important. It is important, but at the same time, like AJ say, our family is more important than money. And I would trade every dollar that I have to spend money, to spend time with my kids,
No, that's powerful.
and teach them, what I know, and hopefully one day, they do that for their kids.
So you're sort of building a legacy from one person to another. and then once they get older, they could be like, oh, you know, Marlou was the one that helped me out, right? So that's amazing, man. You guys are very good at negotiating, man. I feel like because AJ, me and AJ, I think it was last year, went to go see a house.
Yeah.
Call this guy, man. You can't
That was in
do it.
the south side.
Yeah.
The south.
Jumping the highway, like,
Oh, the black guy.
yeah, older gentleman. I think.
Older guy. You don't remember his name.
Yeah. So tell me, man, your negotiating skills, AJ, is tactical. I feel like it's very because you can kind of see it. The seller is going. You already know what the numbers are. You have all that in your head. You're working with the person. You have the empathy. You have the understanding. How have you been able to learn that through real estate and through your ability that you're doing? Because I feel like the fundamental to everything is your ability to communicate with your sellers, right?
Yeah.
And getting them to sell you the product, getting them to sell you the house, right, at a good price while you're not compromising them, and it's not like a bad deal where you're forcing them to sell you the house.
Right.
How
See, I'll tell you. So there's two type of negotiation that I personally think. One is fair and one is unfair. I kind of lean toward fair, where it's a win-win scenario, where the seller is happy with selling their house, and it's not more like I'm taking an advantage, right? We understand some of these guys, they want to sell their house because of the condition it's in, right? And I know it comes with our own challenges, right? It's a lot of risk we take, right? We think of buying it and flipping it, maybe we take a loss. He might not even understand that, right? So I got to be realistic in both sense that he got to win, but I got to win too, right? So when it comes to negotiation, I personally think it's two aspects that matters the most. One is the one who cares the most, they always loses, 100%. The one who cares the most, they're always going to lose. And the second one, I personally think is it's a one versus one battle when you're doing negotiation. So the one who has more knowledge will always have slightly bigger pie when you compare it, okay? And negotiation, you got to be understanding. You got to understand why he's selling. You got to understand the motivation. It's a lot of different, check box to look after, right? And then you make what you kind of offer them and whatnot. But yeah, negotiation, I think it's a pure skill. It's nothing that comes in, okay, I'll just offer him 200K and he'll accept it. No, man, it's multiple aspects. Maybe he wants to live in the house for another year, right? And he still wants to sell the house next month, so he has some money, right? Yeah. It's different variables, different type of, the one we looked at, Pemina, was a different house. Guy bought a house in, I think, 2014, 2016, started renovating it, broke his back, started living in the house. House is like right on the studs, but he's living in the house, bro.
Holy.
For a heater, he's using like one of those temporary Home Depot $40 type of heaters. No plumbing, nothing, man.
Oh my God.
And bro, the whole basement, you see like it was old dirt, like not even poured concrete, bro.
Oh.
And the guy's living in it, and he cannot sell it because he also need a house to go to.
Yeah.
And he has a broken back, so he has like a medical situation too. Now guess what? Now you want to do negotiations in that? Yo, there's multiple things to look after. It's not just money, man.
Yeah.
It's the convenience too. It's about, okay, are you willing to buy this? There's a lot of things you did without pulling permits, which kind of goes under, city violations. So, I think negotiation is not impossible. It's a skill, but it's multiple aspects that needs to be checked out.
Yeah. And also too, in that aspect, we have to come to realization with the seller. If he's thinking one way, because I think he doesn't want to sell. He's kind of doing his own thing.
Right.
So there's that reality check as well too. Okay, if you do it yourself, you can hurt yourself, right?
Yeah.
You have to sell.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Very true. Because if let's say a seller comes in and he asks me $1 million for a house only worth 600. Yeah. It's not gonna happen, man.
Nope.
Yeah.
You gotta be realistic. I gotta be realistic. I cannot offer you, a bag of peanut butter for your house.
Right.
It has to be a fair trade, man.
Yeah. I like it, man. Marlou was like the opposite, man. I feel like Marlou, once he comes in, man, he already know. He looks at the house. He already knows this is what my buyer is looking to buy it for. Is how much I have to get it for.
Well, I'm looking at the house as I'm the one who's buying it.
Yeah.
Because always, that's the goal. When I look at properties, when I go to properties, I am the buyer. If I get it at that price, I know I have options now.
Right.
Either I pass it to AJ or I pass it to you, or I take it on myself. At the end of the day, just like what AJ say, it has to be a win-win situation between you and the seller. It can't be one way. Because if he's not happy, he's not going to sell it to you.
Yeah.
Right? So.
And if you're not happy, you're not gonna buy it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If he's not happy buying off me, I'm not going to be making money.
Exactly. So it's like it has to be a win-win. It has to be a fair trade.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's remarkable, man. You guys are sort of like problem solving, but also looking at the other way where people like quad win. People, there's multiple people that have to win, not just one or two, but three people or more, right?
Yeah. I'll tell you, us or people who buy these properties, right? Especially this we buy houses, this whole tag has a very negative point of view in society.
Society.
Because the thing, these guys are ruthless. They're gonna come pay you like dimes for your house. That's not the case, man. People come in with different sort of problems, right? Divorce cases, bankruptcies. Actually, there was a house in St. Norbert, the one we flipped it later. The guy had a auction on Thursday, bro. He called me on Monday. He had 3 days to either sell this house or he's gonna hit the auction. A realtor already came from Remax. I'm not gonna take the name, right? He came in. He came with two of his buyers. They made him an offer. The offers didn't stand. I outbid those guys. I ended up buying it. Saved his house from auction. And remember, Canada has different policies with bankruptcies and foreclosures. They go after you. It's not USA that it's just a house. You lose the house and you good.
That's it. Yeah.
In Canada, they're gonna garnish your wages. They're gonna come after you, bro. It's much more risky and much more, I would say hardcore.
Yeah.
Right. So we helped this guy. He started crying, man. I was in front of him, his wife, and his kids, right? He started crying. He's like, bro, you don't know you saved my life.
Wow.
I don't know where I'm gonna, go from here, but I know at least you gave me a chapter 2 to restart my life.
Mm-hmm.
And what if, let's say, I couldn't help him and he loses houses and also he's in a hole now, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's a much worse position than where he is right now, renting a place at least. So,
Wow, man, it's like that. That's the other thing too about what you guys are doing. I know you have your We Buy Houses. I know Marlou as well too. You guys are in. You also have a partnership going as well too.
yeah.
That's another thing that I like. That you guys,
collaborative.
Yeah. What's that thing you guys do together when you got a wholesale deal? You know what I mean? You tag team and I like the tag team because I think in business or like if you want to go far, you can think you can go by yourself, but you need a team, you need people, right? And the reason why I like what you guys are doing a lot is because you're willing to work together. Like there's a wholesalers out there, I think there's a fiber for you guys that you guys are very tight and everybody sort of, has deals they pass it to.
I think it's more like 3.
Yeah. Oh, is it? Yeah. So I'm saying you guys are very good at collaborating and working together. So let's talk a little bit about your partnership that you guys have going on. I know you guys did a bunch of deals in Canada.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
And then you guys started, we were like, okay, you know what? You guys have that commodity already. Why not we just expand to the USA? How did that come about? I know you guys are both in that. How has that journey been like transitioning from Canada to going to USA? Well, now it's not 20 million people. Now it's
it's 400 million people. That's right.
400 million people. You know what I'm saying? It's a big market. So how has that been like, man?
I think him and I were having lunch or dinner, whatever.
Yeah, we had this.
We talked about
this East Indian place.
We talked about I want to do wholesaling in the States.
Yeah.
He said, "Oh, I want to do it as well. Why don't we just do it together?" I said,
right.
"Done."
Yeah, because anyways, we do a lot of deals together in Winnipeg. Right?
Winnipeg,
It's not
yeah.
like we've been doing it for like a few years already.
Yeah.
And we understand each other's strength, right? And I think collaboration was perfect, right? And that's why we started about, let's kill it. Let's get into USA. Started doing our research, took the initial actions, started doing deals too. We did one in Texas, one in Ohio. So we did a couple deals. Yeah, it's been a good transition.
It is.
But it's not the same though. It's like the thing is, I think you have you break it down, AJ, where you say like Canada is CFL.
Yeah, that's right.
And then,
No, so that's like my personal goal. So one time we were doing this, I think some videos at Bryce's place.
Yeah.
And he's like, AJ, what's your goal for, let's say, 10 years from now? I was like, man, right now I think I'm playing CFL, but by just staying in Canada. But I want to play NFL because I want to, branch out and focus on USA too. So that kind of goes in the same way with, wholesaling or even investing. Down the line, I see myself, making money in USA, doing investing and stuff like that. I have boys over there, Shabazz is there, her nanny, got a few people already doing, and then also got family in Pennsylvania, right? So I have a lot of people that I can, kind of at least, collab with, do deals together, right? And then just focus on NFL. No more small contracts, man.
Yeah. But what's that one key thing that you guys taking away from doing deals in the States? Because it's a different market over there. You got so many way bigger problems. You gotta understand the speak to deal.
Right. Different aspects.
There's different aspects to it. So what's been that transition like? Because everything's remote. It's not like you gotta go there and look at the seller, right? So it gives you that time and freedom possibilities. But it's much harder. Like it's not easy. Nothing in life is easy, man. Because I've tried it. I did a little bit.
You did.
I did a little bit of cold calls.
Do we cover that too?
You know what I mean? I did a little bit of that. So I commend you guys, man, because it's not easy. Because who's really doing it from Winnipeg besides you two guys? Nobody else has really.
I don't know anyone.
Nobody else really did it.
Unless somebody's doing it in a basement and
that's what I'm saying.
Totally low key. That's different.
I know a couple in
Ontario.
Alberta. In Alberta. Yeah.
I know
Actually, some in Ontario and Montreal too. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But what's been like your one edge that you've been able to take from USA that you've been able to learn? Because you also got mentorship from RJ Bates. He's a monster, bro. I think. What's one edge you've been able to take away from USA? You've been able to apply to the Canadian market right now?
I think it's the other way around for me.
Yeah.
Because we started in Canada, right?
Yeah.
So we both understand how the game would play. It's just we don't know the back end of it. So we both agree that we need to know the disposition, the acquisition,
transaction coordination,
transaction, and everything. Once we learn that, I think it's a wrap for us, and which we did. So, we took what we learned from Canada and brought it to the States.
That's right.
Yeah.
There was a lot to learn from Arjun, no doubt. But I mean, at least at the same product, man. It's like you have a product, you have a house, you're looking to resell, gotta work with investors.
It's the same.
I really think it's actually much easier to do it in the USA because you have all the systems in place. And in Winnipeg, you can't even get somebody's phone number, bro.
Right.
Over there, 40 cents skip tracing, you get somebody's phone number, their address, who's their ex, who's their boyfriend, who's their girlfriend. You get everything, man. Right? So over there, you have system in place. You got big softwares like Investor List where you can get all these data of investors who are buying properties, who have bought these properties. You can contact them right away, right?
It's just for the States. There's you have to do a lot more to get one deal.
Yeah. The reps are there. It's competition.
Yeah.
Right now we're swimming in a pond.
Yeah. So probably in the States is like 20 to 30 deals. Leads. You get one
conversion.
In Canada, let's say 5 to 10, you get one deal.
Yeah. It's 1/3 of that.
So it's like double of your reps.
Yeah.
Right. So.
But you guys are looking at it more of like, that's the big league. I mean, I want to play
in the
big league. So that's what the idea came about. Because you both like go-getters. Most people, like you talked about earlier, they're not willing to no risk, no future.
No risk, no future,
you know
man.
what I'm saying? So you got to take a risk to be able to get some rewards, man. So it's remarkable, man. So what does the next couple of years, what does it look like? I know you have your business, Merilles Development, which is your company, right? I know AJ as well. AJ buys houses. What does the future look like for what you're doing now, Marlou?
Still focus on, acquiring deals in Canada. And AJ and I, we spoke that, once everything slows down in Winnipeg, we're going to go jump back to the States, because this is our resources. This is where we started. So right now, Winnipeg is hot. So might as well take advantage of that. We know what we can do in the States. Right. So let this hot season pass, and then we'll go back, jump in the States.
Yeah, first focus always been Winnipeg, right? So we don't want to, distract ourselves from where we always been laser focused. So that kind of goes in hand. That when the time kind of slows down in Winnipeg, kind of makes sense. Let's put some energy in it.
Yep.
Yeah. Another thing too that I really like about what AJ does, I know you also do this as well, Marlou, is the family aspect of it. Like you have your brothers that are involved in the business, and everybody's sort of getting their pieces. You got your contractors, you're the guy bringing the deal, and your bros are the ones sort of making
everything in house, baby. Everything in house, baby.
So you get all in one deal, right? So how has that been like, man? Bringing your family on board.
Absolutely love it, man. Absolutely love it. Best decision of my life. It does come with its own challenges, but the one thing that we three brothers, knock on wood, we've been good with is we kept our brotherhood separately and we kept our business side separately. We don't mix it up. We don't mix our personal life and business life, right? We don't do something in favors that, oh, he's my brother, I got to do this. No, we understand, business runs differently, family runs differently. Let's play both the games, but with their own set of rules. So it kind of helped out. The biggest advantage that kind of gives us is we don't have any, third party dependency. The minute you hire a contractor,
AJ, you're telling me, you're building that team with your family, be able to sort of build that out, and sort of your goal is to win with them, and everybody sort of goes together. Marlou, likewise, you want to keep building your cash and then your portfolio so that can grow. And then, so tell me, anything else you guys want to share? Anything that any advice you would give to our audience, somebody that's watching out there, how you guys been able to build with your
yeah, I would say take life easy, man, and don't stress too much. Don't get too focused just on business. Life has a lot more meaning to it. Family, health, your mental space, your mental health, a lot of stuff, right? So it's good to you're trying to level up, but then at the other side, you don't maybe even start screwing up your health, right? Or maybe your own personal relations, right? So kind of balance it out. Take it easy, man.
100%. What about Marlou, man?
For me, if you don't take risk, you'll be the same person as you were before. So take risks. No risk, no story. No risk,
Sorry.
no future.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. But before we wrap it up, what's the greatest advice that you've ever got, AJ?
Keep betting on yourself. You're gonna look back and you're gonna see you had opportunities, but you never bet on yourself. You never took those, chances, and it's gonna happen. Life's gonna give you opportunities. It's gonna happen. You're gonna have a chance to. But if you're gonna keep missing it, yes, but nothing's gonna happen. So, boys, if you get a chance, take that opportunity, grab it, take her, bet on yourself, and keep back.
Exactly. And Marlou, you would say,
I got two. One from my dad. He always tells me when I was young, if that guy can do it, if he eats rice and you eat rice, you can do it too. And another one was don't bite more than you can chew. Keep it steady, keep it slow, and build your way up.
And I'm a competitive guy. He gave you two. I gotta give you two now. Say no, now I'll give it to you. See, if Cat wants to become a light, you gotta look, give up your appetite for rats.
Correct.
Right? So you wanna level up. You wanna level up with breast too. You wanna level up with the child that comes. So you have a third one now.
That's
stay
it.
hungry too, Marlou. You
Always.
gotta stay hungry. Marlou, before we close, what's one thing you want people to tell you about your morning routine, bro? Because people tell you we waking up at 4 a.m. in the morning. What's that been like for you? Where people are probably looking at you like this guy is crazy, man.
Right now, to be honest, I'm slacking right now. I've been on trips the past 3 weeks, 2 weeks, and it kind of threw me off a little bit. But I'm trying to get back to the horse again. But the morning routine is just for me to be able to serve my kids in the morning, and that's why I have to push my morning routine past 4 a.m. So then once I'm done my gym, I could get the boys ready for school and then spend time with them and then get my day going after that. So nothing special. It's just a habit that I've been doing for a long time. And I was always a morning person since I was a little kid, man. I would always wake up 6, 7 in the morning, no alarm. So
We were like totally opposite.
yeah, no, my
Morning person.
my once my grandma was up at 5, I'm right next to her. I would just go outside, play. That's it, man.
You know what they say too, man. After 9 o'clock, that's when trouble starts. But after 9, that's when things really unfold. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you can look at the whole. I don't know if you're waking up, putting your face in the day. Oh, fuck it. I don't know if you're doing that. You got the banana on the meat. I don't know if your routine is
Nah.
so crazy. But I think it's like I probably say is like stick to something that works for you. Because Marlou's routine works for Marlou.
Yeah.
AJ's routine works for him. Same thing with me. Like, I think a lot of time what happens is that we want to be somebody else.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's not who you are. Be you, and sometimes you might be up till 1, but then you might wake up tomorrow and things are like, harsher because you're still going about it. So don't feel like you're overworking yourself. I think a lot nowadays people tell you like balance this and that. I think it's the opposite. I think it's work life integration. I think balance is a myth, right? Because people they want balance, but then you work a job, now they go watch Netflix.
That's right.
That's your way of balance. Then that's what you're gonna get. But work life integration, okay, you want to do business, you want to play sports, you want to do family. Add all those things together so you can get those kind of things. Not just I just want to do one thing, which is I want to have balance. I want to be able to relax. Then you're gonna get those results. So
Right.
you know what I mean. So yeah, I will probably wrap it up there, man. I appreciate you guys for jumping on.
Of course.
And you guys got a crazy future ahead, man. I think I could see AJ in India probably, helping out his people and respire.
There's a 1 billion something there, man. Good luck.
It's probably 2 now.
Yeah. So I see that you been able to sort of retire your parents. So that must be a good feeling to not ever
My
do.
mom actually got her retirement in January this year. So I was me. She's in Canada. She's living in like, and yeah, it's going good. And thanks for having us, man.
No, I appreciate it, man. You know what I mean? This is good, man. We've been able to sort of I call it build relationship. I think nowadays it's about relationship. It's not just the one transaction. It's how do you make that relationship sort of go around. And I think real estate and business, it just brings people together.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? I think it's because it's not like we're just talking about celebrities or football. It's more than that. But before we wrap up, AJ, you're into poker, bro. I think I forgot to talk about your poker story, man. Why poker, man? Why do you? Because it's not easy. It's a lot of mental. It takes a lot of mental.
And poker, there's 2 game style. One is cash game, which is pure gambling. I mean, tournaments, there's risk too, but tournaments are like you're dialed in for hours, right? I love poker because there's multiple things that kind of comes with it. First is the discipline you hold, right? You're dialed in for the next 10 hours. You're so focused. Right now, we live in a DNA, right? We live in a generation where everybody's distracted by that 6.8-inch screen. Everybody looking at screens, right? But poker keeps you so dialed in. So I really enjoy poker for that. Another one is in life, everybody's a liar. And I'm in a business, real estate, where, sellers are always liars, buyers are always right, investors are always liars too, right? So I can snip those bluffs. So it helps me a lot reading faces, reading body languages. So poker helps me with that too. And overall, I just enjoy the money that comes with it, right? So poker does have a lot of good return. And I'm going to say it. I'm going to will WSOP, which is World Series of Poker.
He's gonna take me to that.
It's going to happen.
It's gonna take me. He's gonna take me.
Yeah, I'm going to take him to Jollibee.
I like it.
It's a comfort place.
Shout out Jollibee.
Yeah, sponsored by
Sponsor us.
and Butter.
Yo, that's spicy, man. I like too spicy. Yeah, man. No, I really appreciate it, man. If you can see it in your head, it's possible.
It is.
Imagine
Always.
it's powerful, man. So thank you so much, guys, for jumping on the show. This is the Rider Podcast. I'm your host, Marlou Merilles, AJ Sharma.
AJ buys houses. Let's go, baby.
AJ buys houses, man. This is a wrap.